This is the fothermo solar hybrid boiler. With it, you can produce your own hot water almost for free using the power of the sun. At the same time, you make yourself less dependent on rising energy prices and also save on fossil fuels. Let's take a closer look at the entire hybrid boiler now. So, who is this solar boiler actually suitable for? The solar hybrid boiler is best suited as a replacement for a traditional electric boiler. So if you have an electric boiler at home, you might consider replacing it with a hybrid boiler. Why should I do that? The answer is quite simple. Producing hot water with electricity, as is done in an electric boiler, is very, very expensive. You pay between 200, 300 and up to 400 euros per year just for heating water. With a solar hybrid boiler like this, and with 2, 3 or 4 photovoltaic modules directly connected to the boiler, a two-person household can save about 50 to 75% of their annual hot water costs. The hybrid boiler is first and foremost a completely normal electric boiler. The boiler converts electricity into hot water. What makes it special, however, is that the hybrid boiler, the solar hybrid boiler, can primarily convert photovoltaic electricity from a photovoltaic module, like the one behind me, directly into hot water. If, for example, the sun isn't shining or if there's snow on the photovoltaic modules, the boiler can automatically use electricity from the grid to provide additional heating. So there is always enough hot water for showering. How is the solar hybrid boiler installed? Basically, it's very, very simple. The boiler is hung on 2 screws in the wall just like any other boiler. So the installation is straightforward. How are the photovoltaic modules installed? That is also very easy. It's plug and play. You have 2, 3 or 4 photovoltaic modules. They are installed somewhere, for example on the house roof, on the garage roof, or maybe just on the balcony. I connect these photovoltaic modules together using Y connectors. In this case, I can connect 2 photovoltaic modules directly to this Y connector. On the other side, I simply plug in a solar extension cable which runs directly from the photovoltaic modules to the boiler. So the photovoltaic modules are connected directly to the boiler. Connecting the photovoltaic modules directly to the solar boiler has several advantages. The biggest advantage is that everything is easy to install. Everything is just plugged together and done. A second major advantage is that we use the electricity from the photovoltaic modules directly to heat water in the boiler. There are hardly any conversion losses because we use the direct current from the photovoltaic modules directly. We don't need an inverter or a battery. Everything we need to use the direct current is already built into the boiler. The third advantage is, since we don't have to feed the electricity from the photovoltaic modules into the power grid first, we also don't need an electrician. Everything operates at protective extra low voltage with very, very low voltage. So I am allowed to simply plug everything together and connect it myself, even without any electrician training. This also means I don't need to register the entire boiler or deal with any bureaucracy, because I use everything at home in what is called an off-grid system. No energy is fed into the power grid. The boiler uses all the solar energy itself. For a solar hybrid boiler, which is available in either a 30-litre or an 80-litre version, we recommend 2 photovoltaic modules for the 30-litre boiler and 3 photovoltaic modules for the 80-litre boiler. The whole system is ideally suited for a 2-person household. With an 80-litre boiler, you can cover your entire hot water needs. And as mentioned, if there isn't enough hot water available from the sun, the system will automatically heat up using electricity from the grid. In theory, I could also just unplug it from the socket. Then the solar boiler heats exclusively with photovoltaic electricity. That's something to keep in mind. If you connect 3 photovoltaic modules facing south to this 80-litre solar hybrid boiler, you can save about 800 kilowatt hours of electricity per year. That's quite a lot of money. If you multiply those 800 kilowatt hours by an electricity price, for example 33 cents, you end up with savings of about 250 to 300 euros per year just from the electricity saved for heating water. So the whole thing pays off pretty quickly. After 3 to 4 years, you've recouped your investment, and after that, you can shower for free. The heating capacity of the solar hybrid boiler is 2050 watts. 1500 watts can be supplied directly from the socket as needed. I can precisely set a minimum temperature on my dedicated temperature controller, which is essentially a thermostat located on the underside of the boiler. For example, a comfortable 45 degrees Celsius. Then, if the water temperature falls below this set minimum temperature, the boiler simply reheats from the socket with 1500 watts. Normally, however, photovoltaic power is used with up to 550 watts. The boiler heats the hot water throughout the entire day until the maximum temperature of 65 degrees is reached. If the maximum temperature has been reached, the boiler simply switches off and nothing happens. The water is not heated any further. Optionally, the fothermo switching device can also be used to feed excess electricity, which can no longer be stored as hot water, directly into the socket via an 800-watt micro PV inverter. This way you can save both hot water and electricity costs at the same time. Now let's take a look at the technical details of the solar hybrid boiler. A digital display directly on the solar boiler always shows the most important values. First and foremost, the hot water temperature. If you want, you can also use the buttons on the right side of the boiler to click to the next page. There you can see the maximum power, the current power, or even the current voltage. You can also see how much energy has been converted into hot water over the entire lifetime or operating period of the boiler. This also makes it easy to calculate how much money you have already saved. Connecting the water supply to the solar hybrid boiler is extremely simple, using standard half-inch threads. This is a standard thread, just like with any other boiler. Suitable hoses for connecting to the boiler or suitable pipes for connecting to the boiler can be purchased at any hardware store or online. Ideally, the old electric boiler can be replaced one-to-one with the new solar hybrid boiler. You don't need to make any changes to your existing piping at home. If the solar boiler might be of interest to you, you can find more information on our website at www.fothermo.com, where you'll find all further details. Alternatively, you can also call us or send an email to info@fothermo.com. We are always very happy to answer any questions you may have. I think now is the perfect time to switch to solar energy. Photovoltaic module prices are extremely affordable. At the same time, electricity prices keep rising and rising. So if you want to become more independent from rising energy prices, the solar hybrid boiler could be exactly the right solution for you to easily switch to renewable energy.